Hey guys, so we're a couple days post America's Strongest Veteran, and this is unfortunately not the video I wanted to make, but the prep did not go the way that I had planned, and it reflected in the competition. I placed 4th out of 4th. Congratulations to the guys that placed 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You guys did outstanding. I learned a lot while I was there, and a lot of stuff to improve my training as I go. The first event that we did was the medley, and the medley changed, which is my fault. I should have been looking at Iron Podium and, keeping up with the events to see if there were any changes. The Fangles finger flip that was supposed to take place in the middle got changed to power stairs at the end. So it ended up being a 600-pound yoke into 2 chains for a distance of 25 feet. And then 3 power stairs with 315 and 3 power stairs with 355. Yoke moved really smooth, one of the best yokes that I think I've ever done. That was followed by the chains, and even though I was doing sled drags, the carryover for a sled versus chains on asphalt it's not great. So I got gassed out really quickly on that, but I learned a lot from that. I see the things I need to improve on. Then we went into the Fangles fingers. The Fangles fingers, I got the first 2 fingers really quickly, the 200 and 300 pounder. The 400 pounder, it took me a little bit to kind of pop it up and get it up where I could get under it. And I kind of knocked the wind out of myself a little bit. I thought I had a higher pop up than I did, kind of went to get under it and hit myself. And then when I went to go get the 500, as soon as I started to pull up, I felt a pull in my bicep, and I said, it's not worth it. I went ahead and called it there. Then we went inside and we did the block press. I had no way of training for blocks. The only thing I really had was sandbags, and it's difficult to get, when you're up under a sandbag, to really get that same hand placement and kind of instability. Because the block, it's solid. The sandbag's going to move some, but the sandbag's also not got that same center of gravity as a block does. So I got the block up twice pretty quickly. Did a good job on that. I couldn't get the press. That's something I really need to get my hands on and practice more of. And then we went into deadlift, which I was super excited going into deadlift. I love deadlift. And this was a deadlift ladder. So it was a 515-pound axle bar into a 545 power bar, a 585 deadlift bar, and then a 615 mammoth bar. So I was super excited. And I made the mistake of not going up there and checking the axle bar before I went up there to see that it was super slick. I mean, it's almost like somebody put baby oil on it. It was so slick. So I should have put figure 8 straps over my figure 6 straps, used the figure 8s for the axle, took them off, and then used my normal straps the rest of the way through. And what ended up happening was I got up there, didn't think about it, strapped in. As soon as I went to go lift, I got almost locked out, and my strap actually partially broke, and I wasn't able to get a good wrap on that side, and it was so slick I couldn't grab it with my bare hands. So unfortunately I didn't get to complete that, which was pretty heartbreaking for me. But again, something that was my fault. Is a experience and training thing on my part. I messed that up. And then the final event was stone. It was a 331-pound stone over bar. And again, training issue on my part. I don't use much tacky. I haven't trained with tacky. I was training with just chalk to get used to how to grip the stone. And I put the tacky on wrong, or I'm not 100% certain. I probably put it on improperly, and it was, too much, and it wasn't warm enough when I applied it. But I could not. I could get the stone off the ground, but my tacky was immediately giving out, and it fell. I think I relied too heavily on the tacky for that one. But something I got to do going forward. So not the outcome that I had hoped for, but I learned a lot from it, and it's more to carry over into training as I go. Now, what I've decided moving forward is I'm going to take probably the next year off of competing, and I'm going to focus on training. So I'm going to take, the next 9 months is like an off season, I'm gonna work on a whole bunch of stuff. I really want to work on training my overhead press, all the different variations. So log, axle bar, anything like that. If I can get my hands on a block, do some block press just to get more proficient with that. I want to improve my deadlift. I would like to get closer to a 700-pound deadlift. It's a stretch in a year period, but that's the goal. Is I want to just press towards that. I also want to work on stones, any kind of specialty stuff like that, yoke, stones, all of that. An off season is the perfect time for me to go ahead and really work towards improving that. And then I also want to work on things that are not necessarily strongman related. So I want to improve my cardio so I don't get gassed out on moving events. I'm also going to work on my nutrition. So I'm going to restart that 100-day challenge. I was doing it before. I got about 20 days in, but it was counterproductive to a competition prep. So off season's the perfect time for that. I'm going to go ahead and start that today. So I'm, starting that 100-day challenge and focusing on meal prepping, my training plan, all that kind of stuff. And then I also, over this next year, really want to work on growing this channel. I don't want this to just be a strongman channel. I want this to be a community. So if you have anything that you guys want to comment, just start a general conversation in the comments, anything like that, let's do it. Let's build this into a community. This is going to be a good place for, amateur strongmen to just chit chat, if nothing else. I really want this to be a good community for amateur strongmen to feel they can comment and post and nobody's bashing each other, and this is just a place to make each other better, because that's what this sport is about. Strongman as a whole is really fine community, and then if you get other communities involved in that, it can only strengthen it. So let's get up, get after it, get better every day.